So, what do you make of it, first of all, this documentary?
Well, I thought it was one of the best things on television over the Christmas period, to be perfectly honest. It was a shining light of some pretty mediocre TV. I enjoyed it. I thought it was the right pitch for that program. It was about behind the scenes of the run up to the coronation. It wasn't about Harry, it wasn't about Meghan, and it wasn't about Prince Andrew. And I was very pleased that we have anything at all like that in this program. There were some really nice bits in there, some really great shows of affection with the king and his grandchildren, which puts to the lie, Harry's constant complaints that he never had any hugs when he was younger. I mean, I've never believed that in any case. I mean, I remember when both boys were young, seeing the king with them and hugging them all the time. I mean, the king in that
I actually
documentary.
thought it, Charlie, on that point, sorry to interject, but I mean, you follow these guys around for years. You got to know them as well. You remember the young princes. You remember the skiing trips. You know, you didn't have a Nicholas Witchell insult moment. They liked you and they trusted you. And you would have seen hugs aplenty, I would imagine, over those years.
Yeah, it was great to see, and that's why when I read about the lack of hugs from Harry, I thought, well, hang on a minute, Harry, which family were you brought up in? Because I remember clearly seeing them being hugged, and kisses and all that sort of affection that was going on between the king and the boys. I mean, it happened the same with Diana. Diana was a very affectionate mother, as most mothers are. I'm not suggesting that she was way above any other mother in the country. But we saw her and we saw the king in separate situations where they were both very, very affectionate. I mean, in that documentary yesterday, I mean, basically the king was hugging anyone with a pulse. It was a really nice thing to see. And I don't think he's done his reputation any harm whatsoever. Neither has Camilla.
He was always hugging a Spice Girl back in the day as well, wasn't I? I remember Jerry Halliwell going in for a kiss at one point. That was a very famous moment. In terms of the wider documentary, Charlie, do you think would Buckingham Palace have looked at this and thought, right, we need to do this. We need to get ahead of the game on this because there will be a bit of a PR battle. We'll come to Meghan and what they call it, Harry, that fella, in a bit. But do you sense that the Buckingham Palace and the King would have looked at this as merely a way to document a very important historic event and a little bit of behind the scenes? Or would they have seen this as an opportunity to sell Team Royal Family and the new monarch and all that he stands for? Would that have been a consideration for the King?
I think it's a bit of both, to be perfectly honest, Ian. I mean, we see these sort of documentaries about the monarchy every so often, every few years. I mean, remember the one back in the 60s, early 70s, which was never to be seen again, but it opened the lid on all sorts of the magic and the mystique, which the Queen Mother herself disliked intensely. It was never seen again. But I think we the public should see the monarch and the royal family behind the scenes, what they're really like and how they get on with each other. I think that's the real monarchy. Yes, I think people at Buckingham Palace will be sitting back today breathing a sigh of relief that it all went very well. I mean, the King and Queen would have thought, yeah, that was fine. I enjoyed it. And I just think it showed them in a very human way on a big occasion that had to be right. I mean, there was that lovely little thing where the Archbishop of Canterbury actually forgot his words.
Yep.
And, another vicar suddenly says, but you must have said these words before. And it just broke that ice for that solemn moment.
Yeah. Indeed.